Take a young family with an Irish background, a great home, and swap it out for the roads of Australia and this Winnebago. Meet Pam, a leading sales executive with an idea.
Kind of just had it as a dream, and we brought this into our lives.
And hubby Kevin, a 3,000 ideas a minute school teacher. And their 4-year-old son Henry and 5-year-old daughter Millie. They want to drop their current lifestyle for an Australian adventure. Join the family on their journey, somewhere out there. In this episode of Somewhere Out There, the family experienced some hospitality, Gold Coast style, drop in on the ultimate legacy of the late Steve Irwin. They stop to reflect on a small town tragedy that hits very close to home, and are delayed by RV repairs. The family head to Byron Bay to spend some relaxing time by the ocean.
Kevin and the kids are on the beach. I'm out for my job, jogging along, and there's a guy with a good bit, walked towards. Thinking, God, he must have nude-coloured shorts on. And I'm thinking, the next thing, it's like ding, ding, ding.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, oh my God. So I was kind of panicked, going, what am I going to do? Turn around or run up and sand dunes or something. But the funny thing was, I had a hat on. I kind of put my head down, and he went like this right in my face. So I was like, holy
with his
cow,
hand.
this guy's an expert. Yeah, with his hand.
Okay.
And then about a kilometre past, and another guy came towards me with no clothes on. I was thinking, okay, what's the story here?
And here, trying to do Dad, hi Millie Moo. Just gonna was doing a video diary actually, and then I realised you guys have already come back. Am I getting a massage? Very nice. Nice sand massage. You gonna rub in nice and hard. Just watch the sand on the camera, won't you guys? This is the closest I've got to somebody throwing knickers at me. Thanks, Henry and Millie. I'm starting to get famous. This is what I thought would happen.
Next stop, Queensland.
Just about to get to Coolangatta. And that is where we get out of New South Wales and get into Queensland. So we're looking for a line here. This is very exciting. We've been travelling for nearly 3.5 weeks. And we're going to leave the state in the rig. We can just start to see the skyscrapers of the Gold Coast and Surfers Paradise.
Welcome to Queensland, everybody.
Oh, there we go.
The city over there.
Here we are, guys. We could have flown here and there from Sydney. It's taken us just over 3 weeks. Listen, we're motorhomes. We're nomads. We're looking for pieces of land like this to hang out on. There's trees around us. It's not like camped with the high-rise around us. It's not so much fun. Henry, there's a camper just out Dad's side with a Spider-Man on it. Just past Mermaid Beach.
Here we are in the Gold Coast.
Bob Jane, McDonald's, KFC, Sizzler, Dick Smith, adult shops. You name it, they have it here.
And just in that week, we stayed with 3 sets of friends very close together. And what we realised was it's lovely for people. They're so welcoming. They want to be part of the adventure.
How did you meet Ken?
I met him in an Irish pub. I should have kept going to the next pub.
We went to a pub in Ireland.
In Australia?
We
I
went
met him in the Grace Hotel in Sydney. Do you know it? On Clarence Street. I didn't even recognise. I didn't even know he was just background as far as I was concerned. So I shoved my camera. I said, "Oh, you? Will you take a photo of the girls? You know the way you do." And he grabbed my camera and I said, "Excuse me, can you put the safety thing around your arm?" And then I thought, "That's not a bad arm. That's not a bad face." Hi.
And Stewie, my friend in Brisbane, he set up an outdoor cinema for the kids. So they had like a day bed and their sleeping bags and the thing up and popcorn, the whole thing.
Looking good.
These steaks don't look to be too regular. Oh, here we go.
As the night sets in, we're shown the high quality of Gold Coast hospitality.
I just want to go home.
That much of an effort, it's like, is it really?
Exactly.
How big it is.
So I'm really enjoying being out. And, most places we're staying either has an oval or a beach or something. So I've made myself a little playlist and I'm running along and I'm really enjoying it.
Whatever you want to think about and
I just have to focus on breathing.
Things under control there, Stu, yeah?
Hurry up.
Oh, he's burning himself.
I think I might die. Hospital. Where's the ambulance?
But it's very hard because you're kind of half in someone's house and then you're half in the Winnebago and you've got some stuff there and you're bringing in stuff to water and you're kind of under people's feet.
Yeah.
So we're better off being independent travel. Like
Yes.
we're better off
Yeah.
having our own space and it's lovely to pop in to see people, but a couple of days and they're ready to see the back of you.
I wouldn't be so harsh on that. I would just say the fact that, you know, we were trying to, the second night we cooked for them. And so you're trying to look for oil or whatever you need or salt and pepper in the kitchen and you realise you have to go back into the motorhome again, bring the stuff in.
That's fine. I know exactly where it is.
Okay, here we are, coming to Australia Zoo. Crikey, it's Steve Irwin. Wow. Crikey.
Of course, this is Steve Irwin's zoo, Australia Zoo, the zoo.
Good girl. Who could say Bindi? Who could say Bob? I remember sitting in the Crocosorium, they call it, the big theatre there, and just thinking, wow, this is actually a really amazing show. Like they had elephants come out.
It's a Hollywood approach. There's lots of imagery of Steve, and it's very emotional. And when the family come on, you know,
you're
excited,
starstruck.
but you're also nearly close to tears as well.
Right now, it's all about Crocs. So I'm wondering if you guys would like to stick around for the Croc show.
Yeah, can I please feed a croc?
No, Robbie, you're not allowed to feed crocodiles for at least another... How long before he feeds a croc?
Maybe 3 years?
Yeah, another 3 years.
Or tomorrow, whatever. That one. Whoa, check it out. That is sweet. Well done, Bindi. Woo, awesome.
Now, it says to attract a mate, broncs will perform a very flirtatious dance routine.
I like the way it's just standing beside the sign, so it's
Tempting
easy
and
to
spinning
recognise
and bowing and flapping
and identify.
jumping.
You don't often get that in a zoo.
The family check out the African section of the zoo, where the kids take really quickly to the drums. Of course, as well as being a major animal and conservation facility, we have to always know that this is the ultimate legacy of and tribute to the late Steve Irwin. Steve started building the zoo before his untimely death in 2006, after a surprise attack by a stingray he was swimming with for research purposes.
So they were leaving the enclosure and I was saying, oh, bye then, see the Irwins.
so
and next thing Bindi says, look at that little girl. Oh, she's the most stunning hair. Well, millions. Oh, it
was a moment where it was just one of those magic moments in life where we were completely starstruck and they're waving at us and we're waving at them, and it was brilliant.
After Australia Zoo, the family continued travelling north and further into the tropics.
We're 1 month on the road today, so we're having a little bit of a celebration. We've been 1 month on the road today, which is very exciting. Got into such a rhythm that I'm pretty much wearing the same t-shirt every day. Certainly the same pair of shorts. The weather's heated up a lot since we've left Sydney.
The family have reached Maryborough, in the northern part of Queensland's Sunshine Coast.
Maryborough River. 22,000 immigrants steamed up the river here on the way to Australia on
The 1800s.
and shopping trolley.
In Maryborough, they discover a fascinating museum store. The store was opened in April 1871 by Patrick Brennan and Martin Geraghty, trading through until 1972 when it was closed by Geraghty's youngest son, George. George Sr. was then 88 years old.
And how come the shop was just left as it was in 1932? Why didn't it get sold, or why didn't?
Yeah, his niece, she lived in Sydney, and she'd come up here and got a truck and started loading all this stuff on the truck and taking to the dump. And the National Trust stepped in and bought it from her, so you stop it from taking everything to the dump.
Oh my goodness. So cheese would have been kept in these?
Yeah, the cheese, and then these are still
Cheese goes away.
block cheese in this one.
Isn't that amazing?
This is a packet of the oldest tea apparently in Australia.
Yeah, and the oldest piece in the shop.
And the oldest piece in the shop, and it's from 1880s or 1890s. Wow. I wouldn't say there'd be a lot of taste left in that.
This was the old slate pencils when I was a youngster.
Oh wow.
That's what we used in our schooling.
You see, guys? You would have used slate and these pencils rather than what you guys use today. You see? So why is there railway lines in the shop?
The trolley used to bring the stuff to the back door, put it on the trolley, shift it up and down the shop.
Oh, amazing. So it was called Brennan and Geraghty.
Yep.
Is there an Irish name? Is it Geraghty?
Both of them Irish.
Oh, they're both Irish, really? We're Irish.
So am I.
Oh, you're Irish too. What's your name?
Dylan.
Dylan, okay.
It's actually fun the way it's not restored. You know, the things around here, I actually like the way it's unrestored. I really love, this is like no other museum that I've actually seen before, because it really is like people have just walked out and left it. We'd identified a free camp just north of a town called Childers. And this is another town that brought some tears onto us. And I'm there, just not sitting with me right, because I just don't, why would I have heard of Childers before? Yeah. And I googled it, and it was the scene of this horrific fire that was deliberately lit.
And Palace Backpackers.
It was the Palace Backpackers. 15 backpackers died in the fire, including one Irish girl. And then we decided, I said, Pam, come on, let's go back to the memorial. It was a fruit area. That's where the pickers go to get jobs, and they stay there for a number of weeks. There's a lot of fruit around there.
Well, nearly all the people who were killed were actually employed in the local, farms.
We went back and we talked to the guys. It was 11 years since it had happened. They had rebuilt the building again because that's what the family had sort of wanted.
What was amazing, the guy that lit the fire was a gypsy,
He was just going around, do the casual jobs, but he'd fallen out with the people. Obviously, he was a bit mental unstable. Of course, then later, after he'd been captured, the wife had said that he tried to burn them and the kids. It was very public grieving, but it was a lovely fitting space, and it was the kind of thing I wanted to sort of just contact the parents of Julia O'Keeffe and set up.
You've been there, and we felt
there
that,
and there. We just wanted to say hello.
No.
This is something what we've walked into is a very positive, warm environment.
Absolutely.
And it's not a sense of deep grieving or anything
No.
sad or anything like that. There's a very beautiful memorial just at one edge of the actual art gallery is taken up. It's in a very arty way.
Yes. And as far as Jo Politis, who did the painting, she was commissioned from Sydney. I mean, she's one of those people who are up there with all the portrait artists, so they commissioned her to do that. They just made the empty shell, demolished the back half that was here, just used the shell, rebuilt from the shell, and always, right from the word go, they were going to have the art gallery here because they had a little pokey little art gallery down the road.
Okay.
And said, right, let's put it here and make that a positive thing. And right from the word go, it has been that way. Sarah and Natalie and Kelly came from the same little town in Wales and travelled Australia. They were there at Ayers Rock. 3 came to Australia and 1 went home.
Jules, I'm here in Childers to say my final goodbyes. You'll be proud of the memorial they've built for the 15 of you. Me and the girls miss you so much. You're always spoken about, and for certain you will never be forgotten. God had better plans for you, and as hard as it is, He took you to a better place. I know you're up there looking out for us all. I miss you, but there are so many memories that will never be taken away. They remain in my heart. Love always, Aoife.
The family travel to Bundaberg. It's Elliot Heads, and they decide to lay down some diary material.
I'm feeling extremely chilled at the moment, and in the last little town, I've forgotten the name of the town already. That's how chilled we are. Really feeling this overwhelming happiness and contentment.
We're here in Elliot Heads. We've been here for 2 days and I have just had the most fabulous time. The kids are so happy. It's really quiet. I was at the playground yesterday with the kids and I just had this moment where I just thought, wow, this is what life is about. This is the key to life. It's just the happiness, it being in the present. And I was just watching the kids playing and thinking, wow, you know, I really feel happy. And you take away all the other stuff in life, the traffic and the stress and the bills and the housework and all that, and you can strip it all back, and something as simple as watching your own kids play just made my heart really fill with joy.
Checking into Bundaberg, Australia's most famous sugar producing town, exporting since 1882. The clan find quite a few attractions amid its established parks and gardens.
Then I lay my head down, just like a sad clown to dream.
Ferrymead House Sugar Museum works hard to engage the visitor, laying out over 100 years of regional history.
Thing about Queenslanders and sugar, just don't quite get it.
Travelling along, I'm saying, okay, kids, out the window, what do you see? It says sugar cane. So we went to a little sugar museum. It was really good because it was like a 10-minute little DVD to show them how it goes from, you know, sugar cane to your table sugar.
Importantly, Pam weaves the visit to the sugar mill into Millie's on-the-road education.
Henry, would you recommend this museum to your friends? No? What?
While getting to grips with the difficulties of the coral reef, James Cook was forced to land the Endeavour for repairs and supplies here at 1770, the first European footfall in Queensland.
1770, historically important because this was the first place in Queensland. Lieutenant at the time, Cook, arrived. 1770 is very pretty. Oh, who's this?
What country's this I'm in?
Hey, Lieutenant Cook, how are you doing? You're very welcome to Australia.
Is this Ireland? No. Is it Europe? What country have I arrived in? Come on, tell me.
Are you little native children?
Do you live here?
Yeah.
Are you brother and sister?
Yeah.
You look good enough to eat.
Or maybe I'll eat you.
it's
trying
all
to get ahead
about
of
that. You know, you feel you need a 7-seater car.
I'm sure we will.
You will get ahead of it, tell you.
Well,
You've got to get out there and find it, and if you're doing what you're doing,
I think it typifies Pam and I's style sometimes that we just talk over each other, but this was a question of
It's an Irish thing.
another couple talking over each other too.
you sit on your backside in the metropolitan area, mate, you'll go nowhere.
Yeah, no, I agree with what you're saying. So this is what we're doing.
We've just realised 5 weeks out of Sydney, you know, most of our friends are both working, the kids are in daycare or in school, they don't see their kids. And everyone's trying to get ahead and a leg up. And
Well, we're not
it's
trying
all
to get ahead.
about
One of the differences between holidaying and travelling is that the traveller will be more inclined to take full advantage of unassuming free campgrounds, such as this Christian campground.
Hey there, guys.
We are in a look at where we're camping tonight. Can you see any other people around? No. Not a single person except for a dog.
I kiss you and you surrender. I kiss you and you love me. We break up and kiss me. Yes, honey.
This, unfortunately, is what in the electrical work. And it's dripping into the different trays and coming down. And getting down to the bottom here, through the trays, and then just leaking out.
Back, but I'm getting too old.
Well,
it must be what? 48?
50, I've forgotten now. Too old.
Over 50. Yeah.
getting this puddle of water as we're parked here and using the sink, which is clearly not a good idea at the moment.
Kevin reversed the bikes into the back of the like it was a high balcony outside a winery. Just crunches the bikes into the thing.
That doesn't. Just an observation. That plastic looks new, yeah? That colour looks white and new. That looks as though it's been around for a few years.
After all kinds of tribulation with plumbing water and long dry drives, everybody cools off at the Tyto wetlands.
Okay, ready?
So we're finally out of New South Wales, and this week has really been about the gateway to Queensland. People accuse the Gold Coast of being brash, but we found it to be very hospitable, while Australia Zoo has shown us how effective and vast single missions can become.
Oh, you guys got anything to say about your holiday so far?
I like the fact that we've got our kids with us all day and you guys don't have to go to school and that Mummy's your teacher.
Are you missing school?
No, not at all.
Jump, 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 jump. Ah, woohoo!
While the family has done some wondrous things, day-to-day life still continues, including plumbing issues.
Good job, guys. Good job.
I can't let you go every night.
What's it like, Dad?
Oh, lovely.
Next week, on Somewhere Out There, while travelling with the family, we'll progress on to far north Queensland and discover the close proximity between paradise and sometimes peril.